Let's get started. Today I'm going to make building challenge of diamond house with my friends Pro, Hacker, and God. And while I will build it, I would like to tell you one delightful story about two friends Cain and Bob who went for a walk in the forest and wandered into an old house. In this house there was an enchanted wardrobe that led straight to the magical diamond world. Also, don't forget to press like button on this video and subscribe to my channel. Let's build! Once upon a time, in a quiet forest, two friends, Cain and Bob, decided to go for a walk. Little did they know, their adventure was about to begin. Cain, with his trusty backpack, and Bob, with his curious nature, wandered deeper into the forest than they ever had before. As the sun began to set, they stumbled upon an old, mysterious house. The door creaked open invitingly, and against their better judgment, they stepped inside. Inside, they found themselves in a dusty, cobweb-filled room with a lone wardrobe standing in the corner. Bob, always the more adventurous of the two, approached the wardrobe and, with a dramatic flair, flung open its doors. To their amazement, instead of clothes, the wardrobe revealed a shimmering portal that beckoned them forward. Without hesitation, Cain and Bob stepped through, finding themselves in a world unlike any they had ever seen. They had entered the magical diamond world, a place filled with sparkling gems of all shapes and sizes. The sky above them was a kaleidoscope of colors, and the air was filled with a soft, tinkling sound like wind chimes. As they explored this enchanting world, they met talking animals made of pure diamond, who guided them on their journey. Along the way, Cain and Bob had many adventures, from dodging giant diamond boulders to outsmarting mischievous diamond fairies. Through it all, they shared jokes and banter, making their journey even more memorable. Cain would say, "Hey Bob, why did the diamond go to school? To get a little sparkle cation." And Bob would reply with a laugh, "That's a good one, Cain, but I think these diamonds already have all the sparkle they need." As they traveled deeper into the diamond world, they discovered that the diamonds were more than just beautiful gems, they were also powerful sources of magic. With the help of their new friends, Cain and Bob learned to harness this magic, using it to overcome obstacles and solve puzzles. Eventually, after many twists and turns, Cain and Bob found their way back to the enchanted wardrobe. As they stepped back into the old house, they knew that their adventure had changed them forever. With hearts full of gratitude and pockets full of diamond souvenirs, Cain and Bob returned home, ready to share their incredible tale with anyone who would listen. And though they may have left the diamond world behind, the memories of their adventure would always shine bright in their hearts. As Cain and Bob returned from their adventure in the diamond world, they couldn't wait to tell their friends and family about their incredible journey. They gathered everyone around, eager to share every detail. "Guess what we found in the forest?" exclaimed Cain, his eyes shining with excitement. "A talking diamond bunny," added Bob, unable to contain his enthusiasm. Their friends and family listened intently as Cain and Bob recounted their adventure. They described the sparkling diamond world, the friendly diamond animals, and the magical powers they had discovered. "And you won't believe the jokes we heard," said Cain, sharing a laugh with Bob as they remembered their banter. Their audience was captivated, hanging on every word. They gasped at the dangers Cain and Bob had faced and cheered at their triumphs. "But the best part," said Bob, a smile spreading across his face, "was that we did it together. Adventure is always better with a friend." With that, Cain and Bob's friends and family erupted into applause, celebrating the bravery and friendship of the two boys. And as the sun set on their exciting day, Cain and Bob knew that their adventure was just the beginning. For in their hearts, they carried the magic of the diamond world, a reminder that even in the ordinary world, there is always magic to be found for those who are brave enough to seek it. As the days passed, Cain and Bob's adventure in the diamond world became a legendary tale in their town. Children would gather around them, wide-eyed with wonder, as they recounted their journey. Cain and Bob became known as the bravest adventurers in town, inspiring others to seek out their own adventures, whether in the forest, the mountains, or even their own imaginations. But for Cain and Bob, the greatest treasure they had found was not the diamonds or the magic of the diamond world. It was the bond of friendship that had grown even stronger through their adventure. And so, as they looked back on their time in the diamond world, Cain and Bob knew that they had not only discovered a magical world, but had also discovered the true meaning of friendship and bravery. As they sat by the fire, surrounded by their loved ones, Cain turned to Bob and said, "Who would have thought that a simple walk in the forest would lead to all this?" Bob smiled and replied, "Just goes to show you, Cain, you never know what adventures await just around the corner." And with that, Cain and Bob settled back, content in the knowledge that no matter where life took them, they would always have their memories of the diamond world and their friendship to guide them. And so, dear listeners, remember to keep your hearts open to adventure, for you never know what magical worlds await you just beyond the wardrobe door. As time went on, Kane and Bob's adventure became a cherished memory, one that they would always look back on with fondness. They grew older, but their friendship remained as strong as ever. Years later, when they were old men, Kane and Bob would sit on the porch, watching the sun set over the forest, and reminisce about their youthful exploits. "Do you remember the time we met the Diamond Fox?" Kane would ask, a twinkle in his eye. "And the Diamond River," Bob would reply, a smile spreading across his face. Their adventures in the diamond world had shaped them in ways they could never have imagined. They had learned courage, friendship, and the importance of following their hearts. And though they had long since returned from the diamond world, its magic remained with them, a reminder that life is full of wonder and adventure for those who are willing to seek it out. And so, dear listeners, as you go about your own adventures, remember the tale of Kane and Bob, and let it inspire you to seek out your own magical worlds, just waiting to be discovered. Kane and Bob's story became a legend in their town, passed down from generation to generation. Children would gather around the old wardrobe, imagining themselves stepping through into the diamond world. The old house in the forest became a landmark, visited by curious travelers from far and wide. And though the wardrobe no longer led to the diamond world, it remained a symbol of the magic and wonder that could be found in the world around them. Kane and Bob lived out their days in happiness and contentment, knowing that they had experienced something truly extraordinary. And though they never returned to the diamond world, they carried its memory with them always, a reminder of the power of friendship and the joy of adventure. And so, dear listeners, as you go about your own lives, remember the story of Kane and Bob, and let it remind you that adventure can be found anywhere, if you only dare to seek it. As Kane and Bob grew older, their bond only strengthened. They remained the best of friends, always ready for a new adventure, whether it be a trip to the local park or a stroll through the neighborhood. Their adventure in the diamond world had taught them many things, but above all, it had taught them the value of friendship and the importance of seizing the moment. And so, as they sat on the porch of their retirement home, watching the world go by, Kane turned to Bob and said, "You know, Bob, we've had quite the adventure, haven't we?" Bob smiled, his eyes twinkling with memories. "We sure have, Kane, and I wouldn't have wanted to share it with anyone else but you." And as the sun set on another day, Kane and Bob reflected on their lives, grateful for the adventures they had shared and the memories they had made. And though their days of exploring magical worlds were behind them, they knew that the greatest adventure of all was the one they had lived together, side by side, as the best of friends. As Kane and Bob sat reminiscing, a familiar voice called out to them from the end of the porch. It was their old friend, Sarah, who had been a part of many of their adventures in their younger days. "Are you two old troublemakers causing mischief again?" Sarah joked, making her way over to join them. Kane and Bob laughed, welcoming her with open arms. They spent the evening swapping stories and reliving their favorite memories, their laughter echoing through the halls of the retirement home. As the night grew late, Sarah looked at her friends and said, "You know, we may be getting older, but that doesn't mean we can't still have adventures. Who's up for one last hurrah?" Kane and Bob exchanged a glance, their eyes lighting up with excitement. "Count us in," they said in unison. And so, the three friends set off into the night, ready for whatever adventures awaited them. For Kane, Bob, and Sarah, the spirit of adventure would always burn bright, no matter how old they grew. And as they disappeared into the darkness, their laughter floating on the night air, they knew that their friendship would last a lifetime, and that the greatest adventures were yet to come. The trio ventured into the night, their hearts full of excitement and anticipation. They wandered through the familiar streets of their town, reminiscing about past adventures and making new memories along the way. As they walked, they stumbled upon a park they hadn't visited in years. The playground stood silent and empty, a relic of their childhood. "Remember when we used to play here for hours?" Sarah asked, a hint of nostalgia in her voice.
I'm happy to see you again, my friends. It is me, Pro from Minecraft. My friend NOOB made very cool diamond house, but I will try to build it even more interesting. And while I do this, I will continue to tell you an exciting story about our two midget friends. Also press like button on this video and subscribe to the channel. Let's start building. Kane and Bob nodded, their minds filled with memories of carefree days spent climbing, swinging, and imagining grand adventures. Let's make some new memories, Bob suggested, a mischievous glint in his eye. And so, like children once more, they climbed the playground equipment, laughing and joking as they reenacted their favorite adventures from years gone by. As the sun began to rise, casting a golden glow over the park, Kane, Bob, and Sarah sat on a bench, catching their breath and watching the world awaken around them. "This has been the best adventure yet," Kane said, his voice filled with gratitude. "Indeed," Sarah agreed, a smile playing on her lips, "and the best part is, we'll always have each other for the next one." And with that, they embraced, their hearts full of love and friendship, knowing that no matter where life took them, their adventures would never truly end. As Kane, Bob, and Sarah made their way back to the retirement home, the sky began to lighten with the promise of a new day. They walked in companionable silence, their hearts full of the memories they had made that night. As they reached the front steps of the retirement home, Kane turned to Bob and Sarah, a smile on his face. "You know, this might have been our last hurrah, but our adventures will never truly end. As long as we have each other, every day is a new adventure waiting to happen." Bob and Sarah nodded in agreement, their eyes shining with excitement for the future. They knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, as long as they had each other, they could face anything. And so, as the sun rose on a new day, Kane, Bob, and Sarah stood together, ready to embrace whatever adventures came their way. For them, life was a grand adventure, and they were determined to make the most of every moment. And as they walked through the doors of the retirement home, their laughter echoed through the halls, a testament to the enduring power of friendship and the joy of living life to the fullest. As Kane, Bob, and Sarah settled back into the familiar surroundings of the retirement home, they couldn't help but feel a sense of contentment. They knew that while their grand adventures might be fewer and farther between, the bond of friendship that held them together would never fade. And so, they spent their days enjoying each other's company, reminiscing about past adventures, and dreaming of new ones. They found that even in the ordinary moments of life, there was magic to be found, as long as they looked for it with open hearts and curious minds. As the years passed, Kane, Bob, and Sarah became legends in their town. Their story passed down through the generations as an example of the power of friendship and the joy of adventure. And though they eventually grew old and their bodies grew weary, their spirits remained as young and adventurous as ever. And on the rare occasion when they felt the call of adventure, they would gather their belongings, step out into the world, and embrace whatever new experiences came their way. For Kane, Bob, and Sarah, life was an adventure to be savored, a journey to be shared, and a gift to be cherished. And as long as they had each other, they knew that their adventures would never truly end. As Kane, Bob, and Sarah continued to live their lives to the fullest, their story became known far and wide. People from all over would come to visit them, eager to hear firsthand about their adventures and to learn from their wisdom. They became known as the Three Adventurers, a title they wore with pride. And though they were no longer young, their spirits remained as adventurous as ever. Together, they continued to explore the world around them, finding joy and excitement in the simplest of things, whether it was a walk in the park, a game of cards, or simply sitting together and watching the sunset. Kane, Bob, and Sarah knew that the true adventure was in the moments they shared. And so, as they sat together, surrounded by loved ones and memories of adventures past, Kane, Bob, and Sarah knew that their story was far from over. For as long as they had each other, the world would always be full of wonder and excitement, just waiting to be discovered. And as they raised their glasses in a toast to friendship, they knew that their greatest adventure was still ahead of them, waiting just around the corner. As the years passed, Kane, Bob, and Sarah's adventures continued, albeit at a slower pace. They found joy in the everyday moments, cherishing each other's company and the memories they had created together. Their friendship grew stronger with each passing year, a testament to the enduring power of companionship and shared experiences. They knew that no matter what challenges life threw their way, as long as they had each other, they could overcome anything. And so, they lived out their days in happiness and contentment, surrounded by love and laughter. They became known as the wise elders of their town, sought out for their advice and revered for their adventurous spirits. And when the time finally came for them to embark on their greatest adventure yet, they did so with smiles on their faces and hearts full of gratitude, for they knew that their story would live on, a testament to the power of friendship, the joy of adventure, and the beauty of a life well lived. As Cain, Bob, and Sarah's journey came to an end, they left behind a legacy of love, friendship, and adventure. Their story continued to inspire generations to come, reminding them of the importance of cherishing every moment and embracing life's adventures with open arms. In their honor, a monument was erected in the town square, depicting the three friends embarking on one of their many adventures. It served as a reminder to all who passed by that life was meant to be lived to the fullest, and that true happiness could be found in the company of good friends. And though Cain, Bob, and Sarah were no longer with them, their spirit lived on in the hearts of all who had been touched by their story. For as long as there were friends to share stories with and adventures to be had, the legend of Cain, Bob, and Sarah would never be forgotten. As time passed, the legend of Cain, Bob, and Sarah grew, spreading far beyond their town and into the hearts of people all around the world. Their story became a symbol of friendship, courage, and the enduring spirit of adventure. People would come from near and far to visit the monument in the town square, marveling at the likeness of the three friends and the tales of their adventures. And though Cain, Bob, and Sarah were no longer with them, their legacy lived on, inspiring others to seek out their own adventures and cherish the friendships that made life truly meaningful. And so, as the sun set on another day, the town stood as a testament to the power of friendship and the beauty of a life well lived. And though Cain, Bob, and Sarah's adventures had come to an end, their story would live on forever. A reminder that the greatest adventures are those we share with others. As the years passed, the legend of Cain, Bob, and Sarah grew, spreading far and wide. People from all corners of the globe came to hear their story, drawn by the magic of their adventures and the power of their friendship. Their tale was passed down through the generations, inspiring countless others to embark on their own adventures and forge their own bonds of friendship. And though Cain, Bob, and Sarah had long since passed, their legacy lived on in the hearts of those who had heard their story. The town where Cain, Bob, and Sarah had lived out their adventures became a place of pilgrimage, a symbol of the enduring power of friendship and the joy of a life well lived. And every year, on the anniversary of their greatest adventure, people from all walks of life would gather to celebrate their memory and honor the spirit of adventure that had defined their lives. And so, as the sun set on another day, the world was reminded of the extraordinary lives of Cain, Bob, and Sarah. They had shown that true adventure was not just about exploring new places, but about sharing those experiences with the ones you love. And in doing so, they had left behind a legacy that would inspire generations to come. As the years passed, the legend of Cain, Bob, and Sarah continued to grow, becoming a story that was told and retold across the world. People were captivated by their adventures, their bravery, and their unwavering friendship. In every corner of the globe, children and adults alike would gather around campfires and hearth fires to listen to the tale of the three friends who had dared to embark on the greatest adventure of all, life. And though Cain, Bob, and Sarah were no longer with them, their spirit lived on in the hearts of those who had heard their story. They had become more than just characters in a tale. They had become symbols of hope, courage, and the power of friendship. And so, as the world moved on and new stories were told, the legend of Cain, Bob, and Sarah remained a shining example of what it meant to truly live. As the legend of Cain, Bob, and Sarah continued to spread, it took on a life of its own. People everywhere were inspired by their story, and soon, a movement began to honor their memory. In towns and cities around the world, monuments were erected in tribute to the three friends, each one a symbol of the enduring power of friendship and the importance of living life to the fullest. The anniversary of their greatest adventure became a global holiday, a day when people would come together to celebrate the spirit of adventure and friendship that Cain, Bob, and Sarah had embodied.
Minecraft. My friend Pro have made some very interesting diamond house build, but we should show them how professional hackers build it, and while I'm building, I'll continue to tell you the breathtaking story. Don't forget to press like button on this video and subscribe to the channel. Let's go! And though they were no longer with them, their legacy lived on. A reminder to all who heard their story that life was meant to be lived with passion, purpose, and a sense of adventure. As the years passed, the legend of Cain, Bob, and Sarah continued to grow, becoming a beloved tale passed down through the generations. People from all walks of life were inspired by their story, and their names became synonymous with courage, friendship, and the joy of adventure. In every town and village, there were stories and songs about the three friends who had embarked on a journey that had changed their lives forever. Children would play games pretending to be Cain, Bob, and Sarah, and adults would tell their story to teach important lessons about friendship and bravery. And though Cain, Bob, and Sarah had long since passed away, their spirits lived on in the hearts of those who had heard their tale. They had become a symbol of the power of friendship, a reminder that no matter how old you are or where you come from, true friendship can overcome any obstacle. As the world changed and new adventures were had, the legend of Cain, Bob, and Sarah remained a timeless tale of friendship, bravery, and the joy of living life to the fullest. As the legend of Cain, Bob, and Sarah continued to spread, it became more than just a story. It became a symbol of hope and inspiration for people everywhere. Their story was taught in schools as an example of bravery and friendship. It was riddled in books and movies, each adaptation adding new layers to their already legendary tale. And though they had passed on, their legacy lived on in the hearts of those who had heard their story. People would visit the places they had visited, hoping to capture some of the magic that had surrounded them. In time, a museum was built in their honor, filled with artifacts from their adventures and interactive exhibits that allowed visitors to experience their journey for themselves. The museum became a place of pilgrimage for people from all over the world, a place where the spirit of adventure and friendship was celebrated and honored. And so, as the years went by, the story of Cain, Bob, and Sarah became more than just a story. It became a beacon of light in a sometimes dark world, a reminder that no matter how old we are or where life takes us, the spirit of adventure and friendship will always guide us on our journey. As the legend of Cain, Bob, and Sarah continued to grow, their story took on a life of its own. People from all walks of life were drawn to their tale, finding inspiration in their courage, friendship, and sense of adventure. A group of filmmakers decided to turn their story into a movie, bringing their adventures to life on the big screen. The movie was a huge success, captivating audiences around the world and further cementing the legacy of Cain, Bob, and Sarah. But even as their story became known to millions, the true magic of their adventures remained in the hearts of those who had heard it firsthand. Their story was a reminder that no matter how old we get, there is always room for adventure and friendship in our lives. And so, as the years passed and new stories were told, the legend of Cain, Bob, and Sarah endured. A timeless tale of friendship, bravery, and the joy of living life to the fullest. As the movie based on their adventures became a blockbuster hit, Cain, Bob, and Sarah's story reached even greater heights of fame and popularity. People from all over the world were inspired by their tale, and their names became synonymous with courage, friendship, and the spirit of adventure. But amidst all the fame and attention, Cain, Bob, and Sarah remained humble, always remembering the simple joy of exploring the world together. As they grew older, they continued to seek out new adventures. Whether it was a trip to a far-off land or a simple walk in the park, and through it all, their friendship remained as strong as ever. A bond that had stood the test of time and had only grown stronger with each passing year. And so, as they looked back on their lives, Cain, Bob, and Sarah knew that they had lived a life filled with love, laughter, and unforgettable adventures. They had shown the world that no matter where life takes you, as long as you have good friends by your side, the journey will always be worth it. As Cain, Bob, and Sarah grew older, their adventures became less frequent, but no less exciting. They continued to explore the world around them, finding new wonders and joys in each passing day. They often spoke of their past adventures, reminiscing about the thrills and challenges they had faced together. And though they knew that their greatest adventures were behind them, they took comfort in the knowledge that they had lived a life full of excitement, friendship, and love. As they sat together on the porch of their retirement home, watching the sun set over the horizon, Cain turned to Bob and Sarah with a smile. "Remember when we first met all those years ago?" he said, his voice filled with nostalgia. Bob and Sarah nodded, their eyes sparkling with memories of their youth. "We've had quite the journey, haven't we?" Sarah replied, a smile playing on her lips. And as they sat in companionable silence, watching the world go by, Cain, Bob, and Sarah knew that their adventure was far from over, for as long as they had each other, every day would be a new adventure waiting to happen. As the years passed, Cain, Bob, and Sarah's friendship only grew stronger. They continued to share in each other's joys and sorrows, supporting one another through thick and thin. Together, they watched as their children grew up, sharing with them the stories of their adventures and instilling in them a love for exploration and friendship. And though they may have slowed down with age, their spirit of adventure never wavered. They would often embark on short trips together, exploring the world around them and making new memories to cherish. One day, as they sat together reminiscing about their past adventures, Cain had an idea. "Why don't we go on one last adventure together?" he suggested, a twinkle in his eye. Bob and Sarah exchanged a glance, then smiled and nodded in agreement. And so, the three friends set out on their final adventure, traveling to a place they had always dreamed of visiting. Along the way, they laughed, they cried, and they shared stories of their past adventures, knowing that this would be a journey they would never forget. As Cain, Bob, and Sarah embarked on their final adventure, they found themselves immersed in the beauty of the world around them. They visited breathtaking landscapes, met new friends, and experienced moments of pure joy and wonder. But more than anything, they cherished the time they spent together, knowing that every moment was precious. As they sat together one evening, watching the sun set over the horizon, Bob spoke up. "Thank you, Cain, Sarah," he said, his voice filled with emotion. "Thank you for a lifetime of adventures, for being the best friends anyone could ask for." Cain and Sarah nodded, their eyes filled with tears. They knew that this would be their last adventure together, but they also knew that the memories they had created would last a lifetime. And so, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow over the world, Cain, Bob, and Sarah sat together, content in the knowledge that their friendship would endure, even as their adventure came to an end.
Well, what cool buildings my friends have made. I like them very much. And you? I hope so too. I should also show them how to make a diamond house building. Well, at the same time, I will continue the story. As the sun set on their final adventure, Cain, Bob, and Sarah knew that their journey together had come to an end. But as they sat together, surrounded by the beauty of the world they had explored, they also knew that their friendship would endure forever. They returned home, their hearts full of gratitude for the adventures they had shared and the memories they had created. And though they knew that they would no longer be able to embark on new adventures together, they took comfort in the knowledge that the bond they shared would never fade. In the years that followed, Cain, Bob, and Sarah remained close friends, sharing in each other's joys and sorrows, and continuing to support one another through life's ups and downs. And as they grew older, they took comfort in the memories of their adventures, knowing that they had lived a life filled with love, laughter, and the truest form of friendship. As Cain, Bob, and Sarah grew older, their bond remained as strong as ever. They would often sit together, reminiscing about their adventures and the many challenges they had overcome. One day, as they sat by the fire, Sarah spoke up. "Do you remember our first adventure together?" she asked, a smile playing on her lips. Cain and Bob nodded, their eyes twinkling with memories. "How could we forget?" Bob replied. "That was the day our lives changed forever." And so, they spent the evening reliving their first adventure together, laughing at the mishaps and celebrating the victories. As the night grew late, Cain stood up and looked at his friends. "We've had many adventures over the years," he said, his voice filled with emotion. "But the greatest adventure of all has been the journey of our friendship." And with that, they shared a warm embrace, knowing that no matter where life took them, their friendship would always be the greatest adventure of all. As the years went by, Cain, Bob, and Sarah remained the best of friends. They continued to go on adventures together, though they were not as grand as the ones they had in their youth. They would often go on hikes in the nearby mountains, exploring the beauty of nature and enjoying each other's company. They also spent many evenings sitting by the fire, sharing stories and reminiscing about their past adventures. But their greatest adventure was yet to come. One day, they received a letter from a distant land, inviting them to come and explore its wonders. Excited by the prospect of a new adventure, Cain, Bob, and Sarah packed their bags and set off. The journey was long and challenging, but they faced it together, just as they had faced every challenge in their lives. And when they finally arrived in the distant land, they were greeted with breathtaking landscapes and warm hospitality. As they explored the land, they discovered new cultures, made new friends, and experienced new adventures, and through it all, their friendship remained as strong as ever. And so, as they sat together one evening, watching the sun set over the horizon of this new land, Cain, Bob, and Sarah knew that their friendship was truly the greatest adventure of all. As Cain, Bob, and Sarah explored the new land, they encountered many wonders and challenges. They climbed towering mountains, crossed vast deserts, and sailed across uncharted seas. But through it all, they faced each obstacle with courage and determination, relying on their friendship to see them through. And as they traveled, they learned about the rich history and culture of the land, gaining a deeper understanding of the world around them. One day, as they were exploring a dense jungle, they stumbled upon a hidden temple. Its walls covered in ancient runes and symbols. Intrigued, they ventured inside, where they discovered the chamber filled with treasures beyond their wildest dreams. But as they reached out to touch the treasures, the ground began to shake, and the walls of the temple started to crumble around them. With quick thinking and teamwork, Cain, Bob, and Sarah managed to escape, narrowly avoiding disaster. As they emerged from the temple, they looked at each other, their eyes shining with excitement. "That was quite an adventure," Bob exclaimed, a wide grin on his face. And so, as they continued their journey through the new land, Cain, Bob, and Sarah knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, as long as they had each other, every day would be a new adventure waiting to happen. As Cain, Bob, and Sarah journeyed through the new land, they encountered many more adventures. They explored ancient ruins, discovered hidden treasures, and made friends with the locals. One day, as they were exploring a dense forest, they came across a group of animals in need of help. A family of deer had become trapped in a thicket, unable to free themselves. Without hesitation, Cain, Bob, and Sarah sprang into action. Working together, they carefully freed the deer and led them to safety. The grateful animals thanked them and disappeared into the forest. As they continued their journey, Cain, Bob, and Sarah reflected on the adventure they had just experienced. They realized that helping others was the greatest adventure of all, and that true friendship was the most valuable treasure they had. And so, as they journeyed on, Cain, Bob, and Sarah vowed to always help those in need, knowing that their friendship and their adventures would continue to bring them joy and fulfillment for many years to come. As Cain, Bob, and Sarah continued their journey through the new land, they encountered many more adventures. They crossed towering mountains, sailed across vast seas, and explored ancient cities. But amidst all the excitement, they never forgot the lessons they had learned along the way. They continued to help those in need, spreading kindness and compassion wherever they went. One day, as they were traveling through a bustling city, they came across a group of children who were hungry and homeless. Without hesitation, Cain, Bob, and Sarah took them in, providing them with food, shelter, and most importantly, love. The children, grateful for their kindness, told them of a hidden treasure that lay buried deep in the heart of the city. Intrigued, Cain, Bob, and Sarah set out to find it, following the clues the children had given them. After many twists and turns, they finally reached the treasure, a chest filled with gold and jewels. But instead of keeping it for themselves, they used it to help the children and other needy people in the city. And so, as they sat together, surrounded by grateful smiles and warm hearts, Cain, Bob, and Sarah knew that their adventure had been a success. They had not only found treasure, but they had also found something far more valuable, the joy of helping others. As Cain, Bob, and Sarah continued their journey through the new land, they encountered even more adventures. They helped build schools for the children, planted trees to restore the forests, and worked with the locals to protect the wildlife. Their acts of kindness and compassion inspired others to join them, and soon they had formed a group of like-minded adventurers dedicated to making the world a better place. Together, they traveled far and wide, spreading their message of hope and positivity wherever they went. They worked tirelessly to make a difference in the world, knowing that even the smallest act of kindness could have a ripple effect that could change the world. And so, as they sat around the campfire one evening, reflecting on their journey, Cain, Bob, and Sarah knew that they had found their true calling. They had become not just adventurers, but ambassadors of kindness and compassion, spreading love and joy wherever they went. And as they looked up at the stars, they knew that their adventure was far from over. For as long as there were people in need and kindness to be spread, Cain, Bob, Sarah, and their friends would be there, ready to embark on their next great adventure. As Cain, Bob, Sarah, and their friends continued to travel the world, spreading kindness and compassion, they encountered many challenges along the way. But with their unwavering friendship and determination, they were able to overcome every obstacle that came their way. One day, while exploring a remote village, they discovered that the villagers were struggling to access clean water. Without hesitation, Cain, Bob, Sarah, and their friends worked together to build a well, providing the village with access to clean, fresh water for the first time in years. The villagers were overjoyed and grateful, and Cain, Bob, Sarah, and their friends knew that they had made a real difference in the lives of those they had helped.